We have done it. Oh my god. We have finally done it. We've done Radical Red Hardcore Nuzlocke. No, not Hardcore Nuzlocke. Hardcore mode on 3.0 update. And we have the video out. Can I beat Pokemon Radical Red 3.0 Hardcore mode? Which is the brand new updated version of the hardcore mode that mostly anyone who's played this game know. It's incredibly time consuming. It took me all day to complete it, but finally we've had it. But before we get into the video, I want to run down some rules. If you guys do not know what hardcore mode is the hardest mode in any ROM hack that I've ever played. It's basically limiting yourself on movesets. You can't use setup moves, you can't do this. Gym leaders and boss trainers have special abilities throughout the challenge, so they have more of an advantage than you are, and you're limited to the Pokemon you can use, and certain TMs aren't working for your certain Pokemon. There's a complete guide on what is allowed and what is not in a hardcore mode, and since it's built into the ROM hacks, the rules are enforced already, so you can't really break the rules at all. So you have to play it straight up with the hardest difficulty in Pokemon ever. And besides all the hardcoreness of this challenge video, each of my Pokemon will also be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a nickname in the previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop it in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you guys are down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the challenge video itself. So with the brand new update, you're allowed to actually choose which starter you want from the get-go. In Professor Oak's lab, you're able to find yourselves any starter that you want, and I think the best starter in my opinion is going to be Greninja, so we're going to choose Froakie as our starter Pokemon, and that is who we're going to rock with for a little bit now. But we're also not limited to any Pokemon that we encounter, so we're able to catch a bunch of other Pokemon. We went out and fished in Pallet Town and got a lot of water type Pokemon. We got Tentacool. So far at the start of the game, the mini bosses don't seem that hard. I had to reset a couple times, you know, soft reset because I blacked out multiple times, but definitely not the hardest thing so far. So we're doing pretty well in the first couple minutes in the challenge. We're gonna head into Pewter City and we're able to find ourselves the first egg vendor in the game. This egg vendor can give out any sorts of Pokemon at any point, so it's very useful at the beginning of the game to possibly have a nice advantage. And surprisingly enough, we have a very awful Pokemon. We got Ponyta, which you can find in the wild yourself, so it's not too useful. So we're also going to add it to our team, but surprisingly enough, it will shock you how useful this throwaway Pokemon that I thought is not going to be useful at all. So anyways, we can go in and face off against Faulkner next. Faulkner is the first mini boss where you have to be able to unlock gyms after you beat Faulkner. Once we beat Faulkner, we're going to face off against Pewter City's gym next. We're going to face off against Brock. Brock is going to be the rock type gym leader of the game, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my Frogadier. We're going to actually double out into my Mienfoo, which is going to catch the Leap on the switch-in, and we're able to do a lot of damage onto him and also paralyze the Hippopotas before my Mienfoo goes down. And then my Frogadier can actually come out, and then I double once again because I know it's going to double back into the Leap. So I go back into my Barnacle, which I'm able to Rock Smash, knock out the Leap, and Cacnea comes out next. This thing actually gets folded by my Ponyta, which I also hatched out, and I thought it was going to be useless. This Ponyta actually comes in clutch and actually knocks out the Cacnea for us, which is actually amazing. So maybe we keep Ponyta on our team after all. But anyways, this Ponyta is going to do a lot of chip damage to the Hippopotas, also burn down the Lunatone. And then it finally goes down, but I'm able to switch out into my Frogadier right after this and essentially just win the game because I did all the damage I needed to. Got rid of the threats. I'm able to Water Pulse, eventually Quick Attack, knock out the Lunatone, Water Pulse into the Hippopotas, and finally Water Pulse into the Archean. And Brock's last Pokemon will be a Sandshrew, which all we gotta do is lower his attack stat, bite him down, and finish him off using my Tentacool. And we end up beating Brock very easily for our hardcore mode so far. So after that, we have access into raid dens now, and even then we head into Mount Moon, and the final battle, the final double battle at the end of the cave is actually pretty easy. We actually went through, maybe because I play through Radical Red like every single week, I have a lot of control with the Pokemon I know, and I play at a fast pace, so I kind of read through the AI's movement decently, so that's why maybe I'm not struggling as much as I used to in hardcore mode. I'm getting through a lot of this early game pretty easily, and normally the early game is where it hits me the most, maybe because I'm not doing a specific challenge or a theme challenge. Maybe that's possibly why there's not a lot of struggle, but I'm going through the game pretty easily. As we head into the next gym, we're going to face off against Cerulean City's gym leader. We're going to face off against Misty next. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Tentacruel. We're going to do some chip damage against the Politoed as the Pharisee comes out next. I switch out into my Rapidash, which is kind of funny to have this early on, but I do a lot of chip damage against the Pharisee. Knowing it's going to switch back into his Politoed, I go into my Appleton, which will actually 1v1 the Ludicolo for us, and we actually end up knocking him out. And then Misty's next Pokemon will be a Toxicroak, which I stack my Appleton to. I go out into my Rapidash to Fire Lash into him and also burn him. and at this point it wants to sucker punch me, but I have quick attack as a move, and somehow my fire type Rapidash that I thought is fodder, that's why I named it fodder, is actually doing a lot of work against the water type gym leader, which is insane. I thought it's gonna be such a useless Pokemon, but at some point I'm gonna have to switch out my Rapidash into my Tentacruel to end up sludging and knocking out the Politoed, which is great for us. Fairy Seed comes out next. I'm going to do enough chip damage where it's a one shot, so I can switch out into my Mienshao to knock him out with Rock Tomb, and also get a Rock Tomb off against the Starmie, and allowing my Frogadier to come out and Rock Tombing just to get its speed lower enough for my Luxio to one shot it, and then I could survive the Mantine's one move as I'm able to confuse it on accident. I'm not sure why I went for a confusion, but I am able to get him low on HP as my Rapidash is able to quick attack, finish him off, and Rapidash is somehow the MVP of this battle. Somehow the fire type is the MVP. From there though, we're going to head into the SSN, and obviously in here there is not much for us to do. There's a lot more annoying battles, but after that we can move on and face off against Lieutenant Surge next. Lieutenant Surge is going to be the third gym leader of the game, and we're going to start the battle off against him using my Luxray. My Luxray is going to 1v1 and knock out the Rotom for us, and then his Electivire is going to come on next. His Electivire is quite annoying as he's going to knock out my Luxray as I switch out to my Rapidash to Fire Lash into him and also Fire Lash into his Raichu, which will lower his defense and allows me to quick attack him, knock him out pretty easily. And next up, his Hitmonlee comes out next. My Tentacruel is going to handle that and eventually knock him out. His Electivire will knock out my Tentacruel, but I do have a Greninja, and this Greninja has Ash Greninja as an ability, which is my starter Pokemon. It's so crazy to have a starter Pokemon as Ash Greninja. I'm going to bait in the Manectric and then make him switch out into his Soon Electrode, which will explode onto my Greninja and allowing me to basically win the game, because at this point none of Lieutenant Surge's party member can beat down my Appleton at all. So we're able to knock down a Manectric and we get the third gym badge of the game. Next up, we're going to move out and solve this puzzle. To unlock the move relearner, you have to solve the puzzle by beating his 6 Pokemon with your 3 Lolo Cup Pokemon. So luckily enough, we solve it. We're able to relearn some moves whenever we want. And we also can move on into Celadon City to face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Erika next. Erika's going to be the grass type gym leader of the game. She can start the battle off against us using a Cradily, which I have a Togekiss to Air Slash into him to knock him out, which is a bunch of flinches. You know, I gotta use cheap tactics against the very brokenness of everything else in Radical Red. So I also get the Kartana to fall asleep, and I switch up to my Rapidash to do a lot of chip damage against the Slowbro. And then that will allow me to go back out into my Togekiss to obviously knock him out in a couple shots. As the Toxicity comes out next, it's going to allow me to go out to my Appleton to do a lot of chip damage against him and let my Togekiss obviously finish off against him, knock him out, and also knock out the Slowbro. Unfortunately, my Air Slash does not knock out the Kartana, so I gotta switch out to my Luxray to lower his attack stat and go out to my Mienshao next. I gotta keep lowering his attack stat because this thing is crazy strong, so I gotta make sure I can go out into my Togekiss safely to Air Slash into the Hawlucha to knock him out. And also now the Kartana has to reset, so I go back out into my Luxray and go eventually into my Mienshao to Drain Punch and knock him out. And her last Pokemon will be a Mega Sceptile, which isn't too threatening at all because I could go out into my Tentacruel, do enough damage to it that allows me to fake out with my Mienshao to knock her out, and we get the 4th gym badge of the game. From then, moving on, we are breezing through this pretty easily as we're able to also beat Giovanni in the Team Rocket hideout, and we're clearing through everything pretty simply, nothing too difficult. We even go out and face off against, normally I would struggle in Lavender Town, in the Lavender Tower, with this battle specifically, but I was doing pretty fine. Like, no, this is my first try against him. I forgot to save too, and I end up beating down this trainer. Also beat down our rival at Silphco, I think on the first attempt, maybe first attempt, something like that. Beat down Ariana and Archer, which took a little bit, but we also beat Giovanni down, which took a few attempts. It wasn't too dreadful. It didn't take like hours of my time, but we're able to beat down Giovanni with our little unique strategy over there with faking out with my Mienshao. But from there, we can go out into an actual difficult gym fight. We face off against Sabrina next, and Sabrina's going to be a double battle fight, which has infinite Trick Room, I believe, infinite Misty Terrain. It's just so annoying. Our Pokemon are pretty strong as well. I took multiple attempts and multiple team revamping to finally get the right team to face off against her. But we're going to start the battle off against her using my Greninja and also my Appleton. Now, Appleton's trying to bait in the Tapu Fini's Misty Explosion. I'm going to Water Shuriken into the camera to do some chip damage and also allow it to go down into Misty Explosion. So 3 Pokemon go down, but only 1 was mine. We have the lead in terms of Pokemon advantage. I end up going out to my Appleton to Giga Drain into the Jellicent because it's going to be the slowest Pokemon on the field. minus the Calrex, I think, or the Glacier. And then I go out into my Magnet Zone to try to hopefully flash cannon into the Glacier. After doing some chip damage with my Appleton, I am able to knock him out with my Magnet Zone. And I go out to my Luxray next. Luxray is able to knock out the Jellicent for us with a Sucker Punch, which is nice. For some reason, I decided to double out into my Rapidash. There's gotta be a reason why, because I think I was baiting in some attack. So I think I could get another Intimidate off against the Melmetal, as I'm able to Earth Power into the Melmetal. And since the Jellicent is doing no sorts of damage, I am able to just stay in. Earth Power once more into the Melmetal, and also Sucker Punch into the Jellicent to knock him out. And then her final Pokemon will be a Magnera, which I'm able to just double down and knock her out pretty easily with my Palossand. And would you ever think Palossand would be in a Radical Red Hardcore Challenge? I just never thought of that. I've never thought Rapidash would do so much work in a Hardcore Challenge either. Like, these are the Pokemon I never expected. Like, I expected Luxray, I expected Dragonite, I expected Greninja, Appleton maybe, but not Rapidash. And definitely not Palossand. I don't know why I'm using a Palossand, but I am using a Palossand. From there, we can go into the Safari Zone and have no luck capturing any Pokemon at all. So, we're not going to add any Pokemon to our team ever again, apparently. Before you head into Fuchsia City's gym, you gotta clear through everything possible. You gotta face off against Misty, Brock, and Lieutenant Surge once again before the gym opens up, which I think is a dumb mechanic. It's not a fun mechanic at all. I don't understand it at all. It's not challenging. These fights are just more tedious than anything. But once you finish through the fights, you can face off against Koga finally. And Koga is pretty difficult. So it is a pretty difficult challenge, I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna start the battle off against Koga using my Dragonite to Aerial Ace and Extreme Speed the Surf Edge to knock him out. Tapu Lele comes on next, and I gotta rig the odds a little. I gotta restart into Tapu Lele, missed 2 Focus Blasts on my Magnet Zone, so I'm able to Flash Cannon it. And then I can switch out into my Magnet Zone against the Crocodile, trying to get the multi-scale up with my leftovers by switching in between my Magnet Zone. But unfortunately, it's going to close combat me, which is unfortunate. And it's going to Tech Rage and knock out my Magnet Zone. Super unfortunate. I didn't get multi-scale back, but I'm able to go into my Appleton, get a clean switch in, knock out the Crocodile, and then the Nidoking comes out. I'm going to my Bronze Zone to Future Sight and knock out the Nidoking pretty easily. And his next Pokemon will be a Toxicity, which I'm not going to stay in. I switched out into my Palossand to Earth Power to knock him out in one shot. And his last Pokemon will be a Kyurem White, which I sack on my Palossand, go out to my Snorlax to Rock Slide, and also Self-Destruct to knock out the Kyurem. And we get the 6th gym batch of the game. Pretty simple. As we move on and face off against Price next. Price is going to give us the Choice Scarf, which is going to be a very useful item. And it's a very difficult fight, I'm not going to lie. This fight almost knocks me out, as my Mienshao barely lives. And also, we gotta face off against Jasmine next, just to get the Choice Band as well. I think I used it less than the Choice Scarf, obviously, but it was still pretty useful. As we move on and face off against Blaine next, on my first attempt, we face off against Blaine, using my Dragonite to Dragon Rush and Extreme Speed to knock out the Heliolisk. Next up, he's gonna switch out to his Groudon. You know, he's a Primal Groudon. We're gonna Dragon Rush into him and then switch out into my Palossand to Earth Power and knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Typhlosion, as I switch out into my Rapidash with Flash Fire, absorb the Typhlosion, break its Soul Blaze, which now doesn't have priority, and also just Flare Blitz into the Charizard to do a lot of damage. And eventually I'm gonna go out into my Barbarico, which has a Cell Rock, will knock out the Charizard, bait in the Venusaur. Then I could go out into my Dragonite, absorb a Solar Beam, and then Dragon Rush into him and Extreme Speed to do a lot of damage down to red HP. I go out into my Luxray to Sucker Punch, knock out the Venusaur, do a lot of damage to the Darmanitan, and then finish the entire battle with my Barbarico. Don't mind me sacking my Palossand for no reason, but my Barbarico will end up finishing off the battle, and we can move on into Cerulean Cave. Now, I thought this battle would be super difficult. Beating Archer and Ariana was a breeze for some reason. I am able to just clear them out. Now, I shouldn't be first attempting so many battles, especially in a hardcore mode. I understand I'm a seasoned veteran. I'm super cool. I play this game every single week. But I don't think I should be first attempting all these fights, even though I'm going into them, a lot of them blind. I know the gist of it. I know the rules. I'm not surprised by the mechanics. But a lot of these fights are still pretty difficult. I don't think I should be one-shotting them. So I'm not sure if they lowered the difficulty, or maybe I got a little bit better over the 3 years I've been playing this game. But from there, we're going to face off against Giovanni in this incredibly difficult double battle fight with Lance as our teammate. This actually took me 45 minutes. I'm not going to lie. This actually took me a lot longer than it's what's shown. But this is the final result. Eventually, I put a Choice Scarf on my Rapidash. How many times did I ever took Rapidash off my team? I just realized. There's like no point in my mind that I think Rapidash would be my favorite Pokemon possible in this entire run. But it's named fodder. It's not supposed to be good. and somehow it's in the most important battle of the entire game against Giovanni, one of the toughest battles possible. Like, I don't understand, he's like weak to, everything's weak to Rapidash. If you want to beat the game, use a Rapidash apparently. But we cleared through Giovanni and we can move out into the 8th and final gym leader of the game. We're in face off against Claire next. Claire has this stupid role where you can't use a single fairy type Pokemon or she will not battle you. So we have to put our Alcremie back into the PC and face off against her without it. We're gonna start the battle off against Claire using my Greninja. We're in Dark Pose into the Shuckle and then we're looking for a flinch. Doesn't get a flinch. I'm gonna keep Dark Posing it, trying to get a flinch. Eventually he's gonna switch out to his Magneto and I get a lot of chip damage off against her, but nothing comes out of it. As she switched out into a Giratina, which I am able to Sucker Punch, one-shot it, and I could go back into my Rapidash against him. Also Fire Lash into the Duraludon twice, and that means it's going to go down to a Sucker Punch. So my Luxray is doing a lot of damage apparently, and is knocking out a lot of things. But the Magneto comes out again, and I don't want to lose my Luxray, so I go out into my Snorlax, and Snorlax does Snorlax things. It's just going to Bulldoze and just die. Snorlax has no purpose at all, I guess. Sucker Punch will finally knock out the Magneto as she goes out to her Necrozma, which gets one-shotted by the Sucker Punch as well. This Luxray is crazy strong. I go out to my Dragonite against the Shuckle to knock him out in one shot. Also, the Eternus gets Dragon Rush and then Extreme Speed to knock him out in one shot, and we beat Claire, and that was the battle. That was a sad battle. That was a sad 8th Gym Leader battle. From there, we can move on into the beginning of Victory Road, where we face off against both our rivals. We're in Clear through them pretty easily, as this is hardcore mode. I gotta remind you, this is hardcore mode. I swear this should be the most difficult mode. I'm clearing through them pretty easy. I beat Brendan first try. I went through the Victory Road. Most Victory Road isn't changed at all, which obviously, you know, it's pretty difficult in its own right, but it's not that difficult. Gotta say, I cleared through it pretty easily, and we move on into the Elite Four. We face off against the Elite Four. We start off against Lorelei's Rain team. Start the battle off against her using my Luxray and my Rapidash. We're going to start the battle off by Sucker Punching into the Kingdra and switching out my Rapidash into my Appleton. Appleton is going to be able to survive a hit against the Ludicolo as we knock out the Kingdra, and then she has a Genesect for some reason. I'm able to do a lot of damage with Sucker Punch with my Luxray again, which is crazy. As I go out to my Alcremie next to Mega Evolve in front of the Dragonite to do a lot of chip damage. It's also going to take a Supersonic Strike, which is crazy, as I'm able to Sucker Punch once again into him to knock him out as my Alcremie goes down to the Ludicolo. I go out into my Greninja next. I know for sure Luxray has another Sucker Punch, Choice Band Sucker Punch, as I'm able to knock out the Genesect, but I don't get a high enough roll to knock out the Ludicolo. That's unfortunate. Finally enough, I finally do knock out the Ludicolo as my Dragonite one-shots the Palkia, and her last Pokemon will be a Mega Swampert, which is by itself, and it goes down. Rapidash against all my team. I don't know why I have Rapidash, but Rapidash is here, and we end up knocking out Lorelei, and we can move on and face off against Bruno next. Bruno is going to be the fighting type and second member of the Elite Four. We'll start the battle off against him using my Dragonite to do Wing Beat and knock him out in one shot. As she switch out to her Necrozma next, which I don't think it's a fighting type Pokemon, but I go out to my Luxray. Well, I wanted to Sucker Punch, but it's going to start Dragon Dance in front of me, so I switch out into my Alcremie. Works out for me as he goes out to his Zeraora. I 3-shot it, but I don't want to take a hit from it as I switch out into my Dragonite next, hoping I survive. I do, and Extreme Speed would knock him out. As he goes back out into his Dustmane Necrozma, which I go out into my Luxray to get Attack Drop, and then go out into my Greninja to do a lot of damage and activate his weakness policy, sack my Dragonite, and then Sucker Punch him with my Luxray finally. And then his Zamazenta comes out next, which is going to do a lot of damage. It knocks out my Appleton, which is unfortunate, but I go out into my Rapidash to Fire Lash 3 different times to knock out the Zamazenta, and somehow it worked. As the Zacian comes out next, I know it's going to go for a close combat. I was like, do I need to sack anything? I decided, yeah, I'm going to sack something. I'm going to sack my Greninja over my Rapidash, and I go out into my Rapidash to Flare Blitz with a Choice Scarf to knock out the Zacian and the Lucario, and somehow a Rapidash named Fodder is one of the best Pokemon in the game as it clears through Bruno. How? I just don't understand how Rapidash is just a great Pokemon. It has crazy speed and Reckless as an ability, so it's actually pretty decent. But I don't know why it's doing so much work. It doesn't have that great of stats. But anyways, we can face off against Agatha next. We're going to start the battle off against Agatha using my Greninja to Dark Pulse into him to get a flinch. I think to break his Focus Sash and then go for an Ice Beam, catching the Zarude. It doesn't do enough damage to the Zarude, so I just stayed in. I was like, whatever. But whatever turns into a crit as to knock out the Zarude with very lucky luck. And then the Mewtwo will come out next. I know it's going to be a Mega Mewtwo, so I decided to go out into my Appleton to just sack my Appleton, unfortunately. And then I could go out to my Alcremie to Mega Evolve. and then eventually knock out the Mewtwo, as it surprisingly lets me knock him out, and it goes out to his Calyrex, which is super difficult. I go out to my Dragonite, survive an Expanding Force because I'm at full HP, and then I could Dragon Rush into him to do a lot of chip damage. My Greninja will finish it off, and then her next Pokemon will be a Yveltal. I end up freezing it, but freeze is going to be like PLA, where it's not actually frozen, it's Frostbites. It does some residual damage, but at the end it's not actually frozen. But I'm able to also catch the Crocodile with a Hydro Pump and knock out the Yveltal. And our final Pokemon will be a Victini, which I just go for a Hydro Pump and knock it out in one shot. We end up beating Agatha fairly easily, and we face off against Lance next. Lance is going to be a pain, as we start the battle off against Lance using my Greninja to Dark Pulse and then Water Shuriken to knock him out. His next Pokemon is going to be a Melmetal, which I get very lucky. I flinched him once, and then I was like, okay, flinch him again, hopefully. And I flinch him again, and as soon as I do that, I know he's going to switch out to his Arceus. I go out to my Rapidash. Rapidash 1v1s his Arceus with Flare Blitz somehow. As he tries to recover, Rapidash ends up knocking him out with the burn, and I don't know how that worked out. But I go out to my Greninja next. I did not know he's going to switch out. I accidentally pressed Ice Beam here. That was a choke right there. But he switches out to his Rayquaza, and I catch the Rayquaza with an Ice Beam. And I Dark Pulse into the Melmetal to knock him out. And then next up is the Dialga. I just got to paralyze it, go out to my Alcremie, and the battle is basically over, as I'm able to just stall out the Dialga and knock him out pretty easily. And his final Pokemon will be a Dragonite, which can't knock out my Alcremie in one shot. And we end up beating Lance with a lucky Ice Beam by pressing my button too quickly. From there, we're at the final battle of the game. We're going to face off against our rival next, as we start the battle off against him using the trusty Rapidash. Choice Band Rapidash wild charges into the Kyogre, does almost one-shot him. As I go down to obviously an Origin Post, I go out to my Greninja to get Ash Greninja form, but since I restarted so many times, I know the game plan for them is to switch out to Xerneas after that much damage has been taken. So I Water Shuriken into the Xerneas, end up doing enough as I'm able to Hydro Pump, use the rain from the environment against them, Hydro Pump to knock out the Xerneas, get my Ash Greninja form, and also knock out the Kyogre. As our rival switches out to a Swampert next, I go out into my Appleton to survive any hits. Also take an Ice Punch as I'm able to Giga Drain, knock out the Swampert, and the big Eternatus form comes out next as his next Pokemon. I can't do anything. I gotta sack my Appleton. I go out to my Dragonite, who survive any hit because he has multi-skill. I survive a Draco Barrage, Dragon Rush into him at extreme speed to knock out the Eternatus, as his next Pokemon will be an Arceus. I go for a Thunder Wave. He flinches me with the Iron Head, but that's not too much of an issue. I go out to my Greninja next to Hydro Pump and then Water Shuriken to knock him out. His last Pokemon will be a Necrozma. I go out into my Alcremie, Mega Up, survive a Photon guys, and then knock him out with a Moon Blast. And we end up beating the champion. We end up beating the entire challenge with these Pokemon, these 6 Pokemon. Look, a lot of these Pokemon very broken. Alcremie, Mega, very cool, very broken. Dragonite, multi-scale, survives any hit for us, and also has Thunder Wave. Luxray, Luxray is a thrown out Pokemon. It's not supposed to be here. Greninja is supposed to be here, one of the best Pokemon in the game. Rapidash is definitely not supposed to be here, and Appleton's not supposed to be here. I don't know how I came up with Rapidash as one of my favorite Pokemon in this run at all. I don't know, just from the first egg, it just amazed me, because my first opinion when I got the egg with the Ponyta in it is like, oh my god, it's gonna be trash. But I just kept it on my team, and I was like, oh, it's working. I'll just keep it on my team. And it just went so far, as in I put it in every single one of my teams for every single gym, and somehow Rapidash always stayed on and always did and contribute to the team, and somehow we beat the challenge under 6 hours. That's impressive for me, because under 6 hours for a hardcore mode run on Radical Red is insane. Anyways, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this as much as I did making it. It means a lot to me that you guys make it this far. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me, and my name has been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I am out. Peace.